Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Olympic Zone alongside Noah Chast. I'm Max Goldwasser, and there's a lot of things people in Central Oregon love to do during the summer. One of those things is rock climbing, and for the first time ever, sport climbing is a part of the Olympics.
You're right, Max. It's one of the few sports introduced to the Games just this year, and it actually has a few ties to Central Oregon. The sport itself was created in the high desert, and on some of the walls and holds you see these athletes climb on, they were built here in Bend. I'll explain more in a little bit.
Yeah, but first, during these Olympics, we've seen records broken and dreams shattered by the thinnest of margins.
So thin that a microscopic hundredth of a second could be the difference between a champion and an athlete leaving empty-handed. Sam Brock takes us inside some of the most electric endings so far.
The Olympic Zone, brought to you by Omega, official timekeeper of the Olympic Games.
A spotlight on heart-pounding finishes in Tokyo.
Two icons, two stars, they're neck and neck.
Reveals the glory of the Games can also be its greatest hurdle.
But it's Elaine Thompson-Herah who successfully defends her Olympic title.
Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Herah breaking FloJo's 33-year-old Olympic record for the 100 meters by a hundredth of a second. But if you think that's close,
Will he prevail? It's close. Sanel Hughes from Great Britain with a very strong finish.
American Trayvon Bromell was bounced in his semifinal by a thousandth of a second or millisecond, the tightest margin possible, dashing his gold medal dreams. In another semifinal showdown,
Ronnie Baker's got a shot to win this. Oh, three across the line.
American Ronnie Baker finishing in a virtual three-way tie, a trio of runners separated by a hundredth of a second. Allison Felix captured silver at the 400-meter race in Rio when the gold medalist Shawnee Miller-Rebo dove over the finish line.
Here comes the finish line. It'll be tight. A dive by Miller for the line.
Sometimes it's about the lean, and just putting yourself in the best position to be able to really have a shot to cross that line first.
So how does Omega ensure the most accurate results? At the finish line is the most advanced photo finish camera that Omega has ever used. It creates 10,000 digital images every single second, and when athletes cross the line, it creates a composite photo the judges then use to set the rankings. The outcome then scrutinized in this room, the winner declared by which person crosses with the front of their torso first. In the pool, more nail-biters on both the men's and women's side.
Tori Haas, just 18 years old from the United States, reaching for the wall.
The women's 100-meter fly saw four swimmers all finish within 0.14 seconds, with American Tori Haas on the outside looking in. And of course, Caleb Dressel.
Caleb Dressel is trying to get his second individual goal in these games, and he'll do it with a world record for Dressel.
Breaking his own world record by 5/100ths of a second in the 100-meter fly.
He just gets in there. Oh, boy, was that close.
More proof it's millimeters, not miles, in the pursuit of Olympic gold.
A big day for the U.S. on the medal count leaderboard, extending its lead in total medals and closing the gap in golds, down by just 5 now to China.
Coverage of the Tokyo Olympics is brought to you locally on NBC by Nissan.
And one medal addition early this morning was Team USA's Nathaniel Coleman earning silver in the men's sport climbing final. And Noah, as you found out, Coleman has competed in Bend before.
Yes, he's competed, and he has a strong tie to the city of Bend. He's even visited here while injured, not even playing, just here watching the competition and hanging out because he loves the city so much.
Who doesn't?
I know I do, but that's not Bend's only connection to climbing. It goes even deeper than just Coleman. The sport was practically built in Central Oregon, and the climbing community here is proud to see it take this big Olympic leap.
High-level comps have been happening for a long time, so World Cups, World Championships, but this definitely feels different.
A sport invented only 35 years ago is now front and center on the world's biggest stage.
You know, it's coming into everybody's living room, competition climbing, so that's a big deal.
Sander Culleton is the CEO of Entreprise USA. His Bend-based company designs and builds competitive climbing walls in Central Oregon and all over the country. Their latest project, the competitive climbing walls being used in Tokyo right now.
Our design and our product was selected to be the field of play for the Olympics for the very first time climbing has ever happened in the Olympics. It's a big deal.
Entreprise, the company, and the entire sport of climbing were created in Central Oregon.
The reason EP is in Bend in the U.S. is because of Smith Rock. And that's where sport climbing started in America.
In the mid-'80s, French climbers at Smith Rock were looking for ways to train and compete without overusing the crags. Thus, sport climbing and Entreprise were created. Now some of the best climbing athletes in the world are competing in a sport and on a wall created in Central Oregon.
And Olympics is sort of a spectacle, but it also can be a spectacle on a local level too. And that's what we do in Bend, is we try to bring fun, exciting climbing competitions with some of these same athletes that you may see on TV in the Olympics.
So this is Nathaniel Coleman, who will be climbing for Team USA. And this was the first year we had the Bend Summer Comp.
Nathaniel Coleman and some of the other Olympic athletes on Team USA have competed in Bend. 3 of the 4, actually.
And then Brooke Rabitou is one of our female competitors for the U.S.
Mike Ruggi is a climbing coach in Bend and the MC for what's now called the 10-barrel bouldering brawl.
The event that we started, Nathaniel Coleman came to our first one 6 years ago and came back every year, and he just likes the vibe here in Bend. So there was one year he was here and then stayed for a week just hanging out, mountain biking, floating the river.
These climbers are taking the expertise they've shown in Bend and using it to achieve Olympic glory.
Getting to the point where one of them is on the podium, any step of the podium, would be huge for the sport and kind of just a stamp of approval on the competition scene in the United States.
This year, the climbers are aiming for the best combined score in the speed climbing, lead climbing, and bouldering disciplines.
Athletes need to do really well in at least one of those disciplines and above average in 2 others.
Ruggi hopes the individual disciplines will eventually get their own medals.
2028, we're hopeful that we'll be awarded more medals as a sport, and we could do bouldering, sport, speed, and then maybe also an overall.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's not the only way he sees the sport changing.
As an industry, climbing is anticipating that Olympic bump for sure.
Galton and Entreprise know that bump can inspire the next generation of climbers.
You've seen the theme so far in the Olympics. They show a lot of kids getting inspiration from Olympic athletes. And they get that idea in their head, well, I could do that too. And sometimes that's all it takes.
Ruggi hopes for the kids in Bend, that is all it takes.
I like the idea that a kid can walk into a climbing gym like the one here at Bend Rock Gym. Maybe they've watched a highlight reel of climbing in the Olympics, and they could come in here for the first time and grab some holds and kind of have that dream of like, ooh, maybe someday I could be in the Olympics. And that wasn't there before.
And Max, both these guys tell me there are big plans for climbing to grow both nationally and in Bend. There could be some new climbing parks soon, little breaking news that could be coming soon. We'll let you know more when that happens.
Great.
And even some competitive college teams could be coming in the near future.
Will we find you out there on those little features?
I mean, I would love to. Climbing is a lot of fun. I don't know if I can do it as competitively as some of these guys and gals, but it's a lot of fun. I would love to get out there.
Yeah.
And especially if there's some new parks coming, if the sport continues to grow the way it's on pace to. You'll see me out there.
Yeah, well, one of the girls you mentioned in that story there, Brooke Rabitou, she will be competing in the women's final tomorrow. It airs live early in the morning, but will rebroadcast in the afternoon on NBC. So keep your eye on that. No, a great story, and you can find some more local stories on our website. Just go to ktvz.com, scroll down to the homepage, and you'll find an entire section dedicated to Tokyo. Coming up here on the Olympic Zone, some members of Team USA wear the stars and stripes every single day, what the military has given to a few of our Olympians. Every athlete on Team USA represents our country in the Olympic Games, but for some of those athletes, the flag on their uniform means something a little different.
It does, Max, and that's because it's on the uniform that they wear every day. Here's Air Force veteran Dr. John Torres.
The Olympic Zone, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company. We are America's coffee.
When it comes to Olympic moments that will forever symbolize dedication, love of country, and devotion,
pole vaulter and U.S. Army Reserve First Lieutenant Sam Kendricks, stopping dead in his tracks in Rio at the first notes of the national anthem, may never be surpassed. Although a positive COVID test will keep Lieutenant Kendricks home from Tokyo, nearly 24 other U.S. service members are here in pursuit of gold.
And she got it! Amber English climbs to the top of the podium in Tokyo, the gold medalist in women's skeet.
Amber's success is no surprise to me.
You and I were talking all the time, and you were trying to make ends meet,
Yeah.
which wasn't giving you enough time to practice.
Nope.
And then all of a sudden you started thinking about the Army's program.
Yes, and that was the stability that I needed to just be able to buckle down and just push me, you know, into success.
She comes from a long line of straight shooters. Her dad, Steve, won 5 national shooting titles before a tragic diving accident took his life in 2016.
I definitely knew that he was there watching over, and he'd be proud.
Proud indeed of the Army's first ever female gold medalist in a shooting sport. But she's not the only soldier answering the bell here to make history. Staff Sergeant Naomi Graham of Fayetteville, North Carolina, is the first female active duty service member to box for Team USA. Her journey to Tokyo was hardly a given. Briefly homeless as a teen, she started boxing 8 years ago.
Joining the Army was the best decision I could have ever made. I'm able to serve my country and also do the sport that I'm so passionate about.
And passion jumps from every pound of Marine Staff Sergeant John Stefanowicz of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, the first Marine on Team USA Wrestling in nearly 30 years.
I wouldn't be here without the Marine Corps. It's been a dream come true once in a lifetime.
Service and sport, a perfect union for the military men and women of Team USA.
Hard work mentality and what the Army has provided, it was just the perfect storm for me.
Coming up, we step inside the museum that surrounds your senses. Noah, is this the future of art? Looks pretty cool to me.
Could be.
Hey, plus your trivia question of the night. What is Usain Bolt's highest recorded top speed? The fastest man in the world. You won't see him at these games because he's retired. But
course.
do you have any guesses before we go to break?
Oh, what are the options? What are the options?
We got 23.67, 25.33, and 27.78.
His highest recorded. Oh, he's the fastest man on the planet. A, 23.67. Full confidence it's A.
For the fastest man on the planet, he's going with the slowest speed on the list. And we'll find out when we come back.
I'm sticking with it.
We'll find out when we come back.
NewsChannel 21's Olympic Zone Trivia is brought to you by Deschutes Roofing and Insulation.
Okay, there was a bit of confusion.
A little bit.
And that one's on me. I'll take the fall for that one. The times on the trivia question for tonight were in miles per hour,
speeds.
not in seconds. Yes, those are top speeds. So 23.67 miles an hour, 25.33 miles an hour,
Yeah.
or 27.78. Would you like to re-guess now,
I would.
now that
I'm
you know
following
that?
along. I was just thinking fastest man, fastest time. I'm still going to stick with that same mentality, so I'm going to say 27.78 miles per hour. It's got to
Well
be.
done. Well done. There we
Is
go.
that
Yeah,
correct?
it's correct. 27. Hard to even imagine a human ever running
didn't think a human was
27.
possible
He would get
doing
pulled over running on some streets in Central Oregon at
That's very
27.78.
true.
Unbelievable. He did that back in 2009 at the World Championships
I don't know how you do
in
it.
Berlin. I think 7 miles per hour would be good enough for us.
I think Jack could beat him. Maybe,
Jack might give him a run for his money. We'll be right back. The natural beauty of Tokyo has been on full display throughout the games, but with attractions like capsule hotels and bullet trains, it's the tech that makes Japan's capital so fantastically futuristic. Natalie Morales takes you an inside look.
There are few places on Earth that match the marriage of natural beauty and technological wonder that has come to define Japan. That intersection of nature and technology is part of the inspiration for Team Lab, an international collaborative of artists, engineers, and programmers who create stunning works on display around the world, including pieces in Miami, San Francisco, and a permanent collection called Borderless that has become a must-see for millions of visitors to Tokyo. Inside the cavernous Maury building, the art comes to life as an interactive, completely immersive experience.
Look at this, the forest of flowers, and it even smells like flowers in here.
As I found out, my interactions became part of the art itself.
And when you touched it, the flowers disperse.
Next stop, the Forest of Lamps, one of the many bright spots in a museum filled with picture-perfect backdrops.
Wow.
Including the mesmerizing Crystal Room, where you choose the environment.
I'm going to choose Rainstorm. I feel like I'm getting rained on.
Finally, we're met by global brand director Takashi Kudo in the Sketch Aquarium to add my artistic touch to the wall.
People are drawing on the papers, whatever they want.
So whatever I draw will be projected onto the screen.
Exactly.
There goes my fish. Look.
My fish projected not only on these walls, but 5,000 miles away in a sister exhibit in San Francisco.
How would you describe the art that is here? Is it digital art?
It is quite hard to describe it. The history going to decide.
Why does it resonate with so many people?
Some people has had interest with technologies, and some people had interest in selfies.
Really good selfies.
A truly unique experience in an unforgettable corner of the world.
Now it's almost that time, folks. Your Olympic moment of the day is on the way. Ryan Crouser, Ben's own, Central Oregon's own, I should say. How does he do in the finals? Find out in just a bit. First, though, here's Mike Tirico with a preview of what's ahead.
Hi there, Mike Tirico, Southern California in the spotlight tonight at the Tokyo Olympics. Costa Mesa's April Ross and Manhattan Beach's Alex Kleiman go for gold in beach volleyball.
The A-team is moving on.
And on the track, former USC star Marietta's Michael Norman is a favorite in the men's 400 meters. Plus, we'll have finals in men's skateboarding and women's platform diving. All of that coming up tonight in primetime.
Brought to you by Summers Flooring and Design.
Okay, Ryan Crouser, that's a name you might remember if you were watching the Olympic trials in Eugene in June. This guy absolutely demolished an Olympic record, or a world record, I should say, for shot put back then. He lives in Redmond. His parents live in Redmond. Well, guess what? On the world's biggest stage yesterday, does it again, Noah, in amazing fashion. He got interviewed after. That's his family watching in Redmond. This was the first time he was competing without his grandfather said. This was the first meet without him. I feel like he was there with me. Pretty amazing stuff, right?
I mean, all he does is break records. He's doing it in the trials. And it wasn't 2 out of his 3 throws were breaking records.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Yeah. I don't understand how someone can be that strong that consistently.
Yeah, he set an Olympic record on one of his throws and then went back and did it again to win gold for the second Olympics in a row. He did it back in Rio in 2016, won gold in the shot put. Ryan Crouser, Central Oregon's own. Pretty cool to see a homegrown kid do something like that on the world's biggest stage.
I mean, it's fantastic. It's one of those records that, you know, I don't know when someone's going to break it. I feel like it's going to be his for a while. I mean, you watch those throws, and that's just an awfully hot shot put shot, you know, and it's really impressive to see.
You should go on the Olympics for your rhyme scheme there.
Hey, I should. No, I really shouldn't. I should leave it to the true Olympians like Crouser and like fellow American Joe Kovacs, who took silver. He's a Penn Stater. Do you know that?
Oh, he is a Penn Stater.
So I
just had to fit that into the show.
I had a little connection to both the gold and the silver medal winners in shot put, but I'm impressed by both of them, especially Crouser, Redmond's own.
Well, we do have an impressive feature tomorrow. Jordan Williams features a bend boxer who fell just short of fulfilling her dream this time around, but will continue to push for the Olympics come 2024 in Paris. Stick around for that tomorrow. In the meantime, Central Oregon, go for gold. Noah, what do you think is more important? Winning a gold medal, completing a master's degree, or helping grow an international sport? If your name is Eliana Mason, it's all three. It's all the above, and the sport might be one that you have never heard of.
And that's right, Max. It's called goalball. It's the only Paralympic sport that's not an adaptation of a previous sport. It was actually designed after World War II for blinded veterans. But for Mason, an Oregon native, it's so much more than just a sport.
Eliana Mason knows what it's like to be at the podium on the world's biggest stage. Mason, a blind Paralympic athlete, has come a long way to get there. She had her cataracts removed when she was just 9 days old. Compared to a person with 20/20 vision, Mason needs objects to be 15 times closer to be able to see them. But she's never let that bother her. For Mason, adapting to your differences is the name of the game.
We're athletes, we're resilient, we face adversity in games all the time. And so how can we use this to our advantage?
And when she's playing goalball, everything else seems secondary.
I love this sport so much. It brings me so much joy, and I feel so empowered when I'm on the court and just getting to be an athlete.
But what is goalball?
So I always joke that goalball is for blind athletes, but you have to visually see it to understand it.
Just under a minute and a half to go here. USA in search of 3 goals, and they've got one back.
Goalball is a sport designed for those visually impaired. Each player, with varying levels of visual impairment, wears vision-blinding glasses. This is what Mason and all the goalball athletes see, relying on the sound of bells inside the ball and their athletic instinct.
Spinning, bouncing, not beyond the legs of Eliana Mason. Mason.
The 3-pound ball is thrown up to 40 miles an hour, attempting to make it past 3 defenders. The coaches and fans can only celebrate after a goal and have to stay completely silent otherwise. Mason, a Beaverton native, discovered goalball when 2 Paralympians moved to Oregon and changed her life forever.
I loved sports growing up, but visually couldn't really keep up with my sighted peers. So discovering a sport that was adaptive and meant for blind athletes was life-changing for me.
Nearly a decade later, she's set to compete in her 2nd Paralympic Games and add a gold medal to her trophy case, which already includes a bronze medal from Rio.
She was a phenomenal player then, and she's only gotten better since.
Josh Lucas works with Mason in goalball clinics through the nonprofit Angel City Sports, but he coached against her when she was young and says she was born to lead.
She's been that type of leader since she was young. I could tell. She's always been very calm. So it wasn't easy to, like I said, coach against her when you can't rattle her.
Still, China 2, USA 1. Eliana Mason up quickly for a return shot.
Rattle, you cannot. After the COVID pandemic postponed the Olympics and the Paralympics, Mason kept training for the Games while taking classes for her master's degree in clinical mental health counseling.
And so I want to bridge that gap between mental health and disability and be someone individuals can come to and work with who have the lived experience and the understanding of what it means to live life with a disability and bridge that gap.
What would you say is misunderstood about the Paralympic Games?
So a lot of things. First off, that a lot of people have never heard of them. And to me, that's just a huge area of education gap that we have. And so I think people don't recognize if you're a Paralympic athlete, you train and work just as hard as an Olympic athlete.
Mason wants both Paralympic athletes and all people with disabilities to be shown a little more understanding.
I think a lot of people assume what you can or cannot do. And so instead of assuming what someone is capable of, ask them or let them tell you or let them show you.
It's up over Tchaikovsky back towards the goal line. And Mason well positioned and a man.
Lucas knows whether it's on or off the court.
To take the ball.
Mason's going to change the sport and a lot of people's lives.
The impact she can make is immeasurable. It really is. We don't know where it's going to go, but we need people just like her.
While the long-term goal is to expand the game of goalball as much as she can, the short-term goal is simple. Take home the gold.
These past 4 years, all we've been doing is training and working towards this goal. And so it's time to put all that into action and show the world like what USA goalball is made of.
Well, I think we're all rooting for her and the other Team USA athletes to get gold in Tokyo. Back in 2016 in Rio, you mentioned Eliana won bronze. Well, the U.S. men's and women's team for goalball, they were the only teams to take home goalball in both the men's and women's divisions.
They were, and it was such a pleasure talking with Eliana. And her boyfriend, Callahan Young, is on the men's goalball team, and they are both set to compete in the Paralympics, which starts on August 24th. Eliana, it was a pleasure talking with you. I wish you the best of luck.
We all wish you the best of luck. We're all rooting for you. For now, we're going to take a quick break. The The U.S. women's basketball team is the definition of dominance in the Olympics. They won gold in 8 out of the last 11 games since the sport was introduced in 1976, and they'll try to make it 9 out of 12 tonight.
I mean, that's right, Max. 12 back in the finals they're back in the finals once again. They play Japan at 7:30. The success is due in part to 2 players. Corey Robinson shares their unique relationship.
Taurasi and Sue Bird, the best backcourt in the world.
The story of this dynamic duo can be best told in numbers. 5-time Olympians, 4 Olympic gold medals, 7 WNBA titles between them.
Man, going for their 5th straight gold. These two have been incredible.
But perhaps the most important number is 20.
And Bird running with friends.
20 years as the best of friends. A partnership that started on the hardwood at UConn and has never stopped.
Diana, what is one thing about Sue that you really admire?
She's just the most unselfish person I've been around. Her ability to make every single person in the room better is just second to none, and that's what makes her the best point guard to ever play, hands down.
Sue Bird, good look for 3.
What's one thing about Diana that you admire?
There's a charisma about Dee. She makes you feel like $1 million all the time.
When Taurasi's out there, everyone else feels more confident.
When Sue was named to lead Team USA into the stadium, it was Diana who shared the news.
I'd like to announce that Sue will be the flag bearer for Team USA.
We have the flag bearers entering. Sue Bird representing Team USA in basketball.
The pair have been at the top for so long, in part due to their ability to adapt.
We've had to reinvent ourselves because as you get older, things change. Your body changes, and you have to change with it. When you're asked to play for your country, in basketball, it's the top 12. So it speaks to that as well, staying at the tippy top.
The dedication to their craft also comes with a commitment to playing for their country.
You're playing basketball for everyone who plays basketball in our country, at every level. There's a certain pride that comes with that and a responsibility, and you're coming here to get a job done, and we take that very serious.
A 5th gold would cement their legacy as the most decorated basketball players in Olympic history. An honor and experiences they both want to share with a new generation of players who grew up watching them compete.
We want to make sure we're passing on knowledge about the game and what it's like to wear USA on your chest, or just little nuggets of information here and there. The things that older players pass down to us, we want to keep that going, so USA basketball stays strong.
The U.S. clinches a win in the total medal count, and with 1 night of competition left, has the chance to take over in golds as well, trailing China by just 2.
Coverage of the Tokyo Olympics is brought to you locally on NBC by Nissan.
You like shoes, Noah?
I do. I'm wearing some right now.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
There
Hey,
they
look
are.
at that. Me too.
We both got shoes
How about
on.
that? Well, guess what? Japan loves shoes too. In fact, I would say they're sneaker obsessed. Everywhere you look, there's fashion for your feet.
Rutledge Wood hits the streets to see where the shoes are being designed and grapples with the question, can you ever have too many shoes?
The hustle and bustle of Japan's capital city are a living, breathing reflection of its culture. From temples to tempura and technology to fashion. But these city streets are where the rubber meets the road for a different kind of fashion icon. I met author Manami Okazaki in the uber-hip neighborhood of Ueno.
You literally wrote the book on sneaker culture here in Japan. When did really sneakers take off as being so important to the culture here?
There was a fascination with American lifestyles and American fashions. One of the interesting things about Japanese street culture and, Japanese fashion in general is that the collectors really get into things and they get really, really obsessed with the details and the backstory and things like that.
I just want to take them all with me,
Tucked away in a near-hidden office, designer Shigeyuki Kuni has created designs for nearly every major brand.
What's your favorite part about collaborating with different brands?
All these people coming together so that we can make what I had in mind come true, and consumers love what we created, so that's the joy in doing this.
I mean, everything about this tells the story. I mean, it's a piece of artwork.
For a sneakerhead like me, this was the holy grail.
It's inspired by mojito.
The drink?
Yeah.
Yes. That's amazing! My heart's gonna explode. This is so cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna die a happy man.
All over this town, glossy temples to brands big and small. Katsushige Kamamoto started collecting as a kid. He now owns Skit, a chain of resale stores across Japan.
Come on. How many shoes are in your collection?
I've never counted, but about 2,000.
I've got maybe 100, and I was afraid like I might have a problem. I should find a support group. But 2,000, that makes me feel a lot better.
Kamamoto says the number of big collectors speaks to just how big sneakers are here.
If you own 100 pairs, I think it's an addiction.
Yes, absolutely it is, man.
Something we have in common.
NewsChannel 21's Olympic Zone Trivia is brought to you by Deschutes Roofing and Insulation.
Trivia time. Okay, Noah, we asked, I think it was yesterday actually, that we found out the United States has the most gold medals, most total medals of any country by a large margin. The next country on the list, they're 2.5 times that amount. But what about the Paralympic Games, right? What country has 2,175 Paralympic medals, which is the most of any country? Answer, options I should say, United States, Great Britain, or Germany?
I mean, I gotta rep the red, white, and blue, the US of A, United States.
You would be right, my friend.
Of course I'm right.
Let's go. Are we surprised, though?
I don't think so.
It's actually in that order. It's the U.S., then it's Great Britain, and then it is Germany. So well done, 2 for 2 for Noah on trivia, ending on a high note.
2 for 2.
Let's go. We'll be right back. All right, you're off for this. Competition is coming to a close, but the triumphs of Team USA will live on forever. Here's a look at some of the best medal moments from Tokyo.
The Olympic Zone, brought to you by Uber. Go anywhere, get anything. Uber, go get it.
Just 17 years old, Lydia Jacoby. And Lydia Jacoby is going to win gold for the United States.
The American Jade Carey.
Incredible.
And it is absolutely official. Jade Carey is bringing a gold medal back to Arizona.
USA's Carissa Moore. A serious layback hack.
Your first female gold medalist for the United States of America.
So the first ever women's 1,500 meters. Erica Sullivan is going to follow Katie Ledecky to the wall, who will win gold. And Ledecky is pumped up.
A thing Mo is separating from the pack, and now the superstar is the best in the world. A thing Mo, Olympic champ, an American record.
It comes down to this, the last event, the Olympic all-around gold.
Pretty darn good.
It's Suni Lee. She is going to win the Olympic all-around gold medal.
Caleb Dressel will swim 3 events. Caleb Dressel is trying to get his second individual goal of these games, and he'll do it with a world record for Dressel.
The most anticipated event of the games. Simone Biles set to compete in the balance beam final.
Amazing.
A routine that will resonate for years. Simone Biles on the podium again, capturing a bronze medal.
Now it's the race to the line. Sydney McLaughlin is bringing it to Dalila Muhammad. McLaughlin on the inside. It's going to be Sydney's time again. And it's a world record again.
Hi there, Mike Tirico. The final full day of competition at the Tokyo Olympics with several American streaks on the line. The women's basketball team goes for a 7th straight gold medal as Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi and company face the host nation of Japan. Plus, in track and field, the women's 4x400 meter relay team goes for their 7th straight gold, led by an all-star team, including Allison Felix, who's looking for an 11th Olympic medal, Athing Mo, Sydney McLaughlin, and Dalila Muhammad. And the U.S. women's water polo team looking for a 3-peat when they square off with Spain in the gold medal game. Join us tonight as Team USA looks to finish strong at the Tokyo Olympics.
Olympics is brought to you locally on NBC by Kia, movement that inspires.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
Oh my! Olympic Moment is brought to you by Summers Flooring and Design.
Alice and Felix, we already knew you were amazing, but now we can call you the best. The GOAT, exactly. She wins bronze in the women's 4x100 relay, making her the 11th, giving her the 11th medal.
That's insane.
In her 5th Olympic Games, now she's the most decorated American track and field athlete of all time.
I mean, that's incredible. 11 medals, and what's just as impressive as these are her 5th Olympic Games, and she's been competing since the 2004 Games in Athens, and guess what? She's also a mom.
She's also a mom. That's when you were born, too. That's crazy. 2004.
That's not when I was born.
And the best part about it all...
Oh, no, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
She's a Trojan. Hey, last time we were here, you repped Penn State, so I can do the same.
I did. You got to do it.
I want to say thank you, Central Oregon, for tuning into the Olympic show for these past 2 weeks. You've been fantastic. Hope you've enjoyed the games as much as we have. See you later.